They stole a Rembrandt, a Vermeer, and $500 million in masterpieces. But they also took a Chinese vase and an eagle trophy. March 18, 1990, 1:24 a.m. The rain-slicked streets of Boston's Fenway neighborhood were empty. The Isabella Stewart Gardner Museum, a Venetian palace transplanted to New England, slept behind its dark windows. The sharp buzz of the doorbell shattered the quiet. Rick startled, the guitar letting out a discordant twang. The monitor showed two men in dark Boston police uniforms standing under the awning. Rick's face confused.
All right, dispatch, we are on the scene. We need an ETA on the backup unit.
He checks the wall clock. 1:24 a.m., too early for the regular patrol.
Boston Police, we got a report of a disturbance in your courtyard.
Open up.
Rick hesitates, then shrugs. He follows procedure, buzzing them into the entry vestibule, but keeps the main interior door locked.
We need to see your logs and walk the premises.
The taller officer held up a badge. Everything looked correct. The uniforms, the equipment, the weary professionalism. Rick, making a decision. He unlocks the final door. It's a decision that will haunt him for decades. The moment the door clicked open, the atmosphere changed.
Gentlemen,
The tall one said, his politeness now a weapon.
we are not here to hurt you. Do exactly as we say.
Rick freezes, his mind struggling to catch up. This isn't right. From the monitor room emerged the other guard, young, just starting his shift. He took in the scene, his partner, two cops, the tense silence, and understood nothing. With efficient, practiced motions, the thieves bound the guards' hands and feet, then wrapped tape around their heads, covering their eyes and mouths. They were left in the darkness of their own making. A single frustrated tear escapes Rick's eye and soaks into the tape. For the next 81 minutes, the two men owned the palace. They moved with a chilling, unhurried purpose. They had a list. The tall leader walked slowly into the Dutch room, his flashlight beam sweeping across Rembrandt's The Storm on the Sea of Galilee. He doesn't look like a man seeing art. He looks like a mechanic assessing a job. The shorter thief, Mustache, produced a sharp, curved blade, a matte knife. He approached a small, exquisite painting, Vermeer's The Concert, one of only 34 known works by the master. The thief's hands are steady. There is no reverence, only precision.
That's the beaker. Now the finial, then we move on. The list is specific. Ignore the canvas.
Their choices were bizarre. They took a Chinese bronze beaker from the Shang dynasty. They unscrewed a Napoleonic finial from a flagpole. They ignored a Michelangelo drawing worth millions, leaving it in its case. At one point, a motion detector was triggered. An alarm should have blared, summoning the real police. The thieves didn't flinch. They knew something the museum didn't. A red light blinks silently on a security panel in a back room. No siren sounds. The system had been disabled weeks earlier due to false alarms. One by one, the masterpieces were pulled from their homes. What remained were ghostly rectangles on the wall, lighter patches of silk where the paintings had hung, the empty frames themselves left askew. The shorter thief stuffs the rolled Rembrandt into the bag. It's treated with less care than a camping blanket. The thieves carried a cheap blue duffel bag. Into it went canvases worth $500 million, rolled carelessly with the ancient bronze and the gilded finial. The leader made a final circuit. Satisfied, he returned to the security office. He looked down at the two bound guards for a long moment. The leader's silence is more terrifying than any threat.
We will be gone for 15 minutes.
The leader said, his voice calm and final.
If you move before then, we will know. And we will come back for you.
It was a lie, but a perfect one. The leader's shoes turn and walk away. The museum's front door clicks shut. Then, silence. Rick, lying perfectly still, believing every word. The psychological prison is stronger than the tape. The guards waited, straining for any sound. The clock ticked past the 15-minute mark. Then 30. The terror of the threat kept them paralyzed longer than the thieves could have hoped.
Rick?
The second guard's voice was muffled by tape. They began to wriggle, working their hands against the bindings. The duct tape was professional grade, viciously strong. The two men, back to back, trying to grip and pull at each other's bonds. It's a slow, frustrating struggle. Rick's raw, scraped wrists as he finally pulls a hand free. Rick tore the tape from his eyes. The security office was a mess. He stumbled to the window. The street was empty. The thieves and $500 million in art were gone without a trace. Rick's face, pale with shock and the dawning weight of responsibility. His hands shook so violently he misdialed 911 twice. When he finally connected, his voice was a broken rasp.
The Gardner Museum. We've been robbed. They took everything.
The phone receiver, a simple object that is now the trigger for the largest art investigation in history. The first real police cars arrived, their lights painting the museum's facade in frantic red and blue. The officers found not a violent break-in, but a quiet, chilling vacancy. Cops moving through the grand rooms, their flashlights converging on the empty frames. They stop, dumbfounded. A veteran detective stares up at the skewed, empty Rembrandt frame.
No signs of forced entry anywhere.
He removes his hat, a gesture of respect for the magnitude of the loss. By midday, the case was ripped from local jurisdiction. The FBI's art crime team descended. The lead agent, a woman named Alicia Moreau, took one look at the Dutch room and knew this was the case of a lifetime and a possible career ender. Alicia, sharp-suited and intense, examines the cut edges of the canvas left in the Vermeer's frame. She doesn't touch it. Alicia's eyes, missing nothing. She sees the confidence in the clean cuts. These weren't frantic junkies. These were pros. The guards were questioned separately for hours. Rick, wrapped in a blanket, replaying the night in his mind.
Describe their voices.
Boston, but not. The tall one, he had an accent, maybe Midwestern. The shorter one barely spoke. The mustache looked fake. That's all he has.
A sketch artist's pencil scratches. The details are maddeningly vague. The mustache looked fake. That's all he has. The fake mustache became the investigation's first tangible clue. It suggested disguise, but also amateurism. Why wear a convincing police uniform and pair it with a bad mustache? Was it intentional misdirection? An FBI evidence bag holds a single dark synthetic hair found near the security desk.
Look here, the silent trigger for Zone 4, exactly 2:45 a.m.
And no external breach detected.
The motion detector was the key. The thieves knew it wouldn't sound. How? An insider? Or had they cased the museum so thoroughly they'd learned of its chronic malfunctions? Alicia's mind races. This was either an incredibly lucky break or the sign of flawless, insider-level intelligence. The only other clue, a witness 2 blocks away saw a dark car, maybe a hatchback, and a man loading a blue gym bag into it around 2:30 a.m. The description was useless. A police artist's vague rendering of a dark car based on a sleepy neighbor's account. Alicia pins the useless sketch to a growing, nearly empty evidence board. The trail is already cold.
That was his eyes. You could see his soul there.
The museum director, a frail man who loved the collection like his children, toured the rooms with Alicia. He stopped before each empty space, naming what was gone in a whisper, as if at a funeral. The director's trembling finger points to the ghost of a Rembrandt self-portrait. The director's profound personal grief. This isn't just a property crime, it's a cultural murder. Alicia writes on a whiteboard. Contract? Ransom? Gangster collateral? She circles collateral. In her office, Alicia laid out the facts. Professional, calm, precise, knew the alarm was broken, took specific odd items, left more valuable ones. This was a contract job. The art wasn't for a collector, it was collateral.
The art is a bargaining chip in a larger, darker game. But whose game?
Priceless works of art vanished overnight.
The news broke like a tsunami. The public saw the empty frames on the evening news. The story captured the world's imagination, the audacity, the mystery, the loss. 1 million viewers become amateur detectives, but Alicia knows the truth. The real clues are in the shadows, not on TV. A week after the heist, the first major tip came in. An informant claimed a Boston mobster, a man with a taste for the finer things and a history of warehouse thefts, had been bragging about a big score. His name, Bobby Donati. Alicia stares at the photo. It's a thread, however thin. She pulls it.
Bring him in for a chat.
This sets up the core mystery, the flawless heist, the bizarre clues, the heartbroken institution, and the FBI's first tenuous lead into the Boston underworld. Part 2 will delve into the mob connection, the dead ends, and the life and death stakes behind a victimless art crime. Subscribe to the channel and hit the bell. Part 2 is where the investigation explodes. We'll meet the flamboyant gangster at the center of the FBI's theory, follow the tip that led to a cemetery, and uncover why a heist this perfect left behind such strange, clumsy clues. You will not want to miss it.
If you've enjoyed watching until now, I hope you liked the video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Amoura Stories so you'll never miss an update.